When I started Sovereign Justice, I literally never thought that someone's biggest nemesis would be a woman wielding a clipboard like a broadsword. But I guess suburbia changes people. You hold that laminated pink slip in your hand, and you realize true evil doesn't wear a cape. It wears sensible wedges and a Talbot's cardigan. All right, let's unpack this mess. Have you ever stared into a void like a literal light-sucking black hole that makes your brain misfire because it can't process the lack of depth? Because I live in one, and let me tell you, the electric bill for the AC is absolutely atrocious. But the look on my neighbor's face, priceless. Honestly, it belongs in a museum. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. To understand the void, you have to understand the beige. Let me set the scene. About 6 months ago, I finally bought my first house. I know a millennial buying a house in this economy. I should buy a lottery ticket. It's located in a cookie-cutter copy-and-paste suburb right outside of Philly. You know the exact kind of neighborhood I'm talking about. Every single house is either depression, gray desert sand, or oatmeal. The lawns are manicured with literal scissors. The people wave at you when you drive by, but they smile with their mouths, never their eyes. Dough. It's the kind of place where people measure the height of your grass when you aren't looking. I just wanted a little slice of the American dream, a garage for my tools, a backyard for a grill, and peace and quiet. But what I got was a front row ticket to a tyrannical homeowners association run by a woman whose sole purpose in life was to suck the joy out of the tri-state area. Her name was Brenda. Brenda was the HOA president, the neighborhood watch commander, and a professional joy thief. I'm not exaggerating when I say this woman was built for middle management. She had that specific haircut, you know, the asymmetrical bob that screams, "I need to speak to your supervisor." She drove a pristine white Lexus SUV that she definitely couldn't afford. And she patrolled the cul-de-sac at exactly 6:45 p.m. every evening like she was guarding nuclear launch codes. She noticed everything. A trash can left out 5 minutes too late, citation. A hose not coiled perfectly, citation. My sin. The unforgivable crime that set this entire chain of malicious compliance into motion. I painted my front door. That's it. I didn't paint it with offensive slogans. I didn't paint it neon pink. I didn't install a flashing neon sign. I went to the hardware store. I looked at all the sad, muted exterior swatches, and I rebelled. I bought a can of exterior paint in a shade called Caribbean Oasis. It was a cheerful, vibrant teal. Just a pop of color to make my little slice of suburbia feel like I don't know mine. It was a Saturday morning. The sun was shining. The birds were singing. I had my favorite podcast playing on a Bluetooth speaker, and I was carefully cutting in the edges around the doorknob. I was barely putting the lid back on the paint can, admiring my handiwork, when I heard it. Clack, clack, clack. The aggressive sound of sensible heels marching up my concrete driveway. "Excuse me?" a voice squawked. It sounded like a seagull fighting over a French fry in a retail parking lot. I turned around, paintbrush in hand, wiping a smudge of teal off my forehead with the back of my wrist. "Hey there, Brenda, right? I'm the new guy at 42. We haven't formally met yet, I don't think." "I know exactly who you are," she interrupted, stopping abruptly at the edge of my porch. She didn't extend a hand. She didn't smile. She just pointed a manicured acrylic nail at my freshly painted door like it was an explosive device. "What is that?" I looked at the door. I looked back at her. "It's a door," I said, blinking. "I use it to go inside. Keeps the drafts out. Keeps the raccoons in the yard. You know how it is." "Do not be smart with me." She snapped, her eyes narrowing into little slits of unadulterated HOA fury. "That color is a visual assault. It is an eyesore. It's not on the approved beige to slightly darker beige spectrum. We have strict architectural standards in the Whispering Pines community. This is a vivid, unauthorized modification of the exterior facade." I sighed, putting the paintbrush down on the drop cloth. "It's teal, Brenda. It's just teal. It's not radiating gamma rays. It's not hurting anyone." "It's hurting my property value," she countered, stepping one foot onto my porch. "When I look out my kitchen window, I have to see that monstrosity." "You didn't submit a design alteration form to the architectural committee." "Brenda, I am the architectural committee of my own house. I own it." "You own the structure. You signed the covenants." She reached into her clipboard. Yes, she actually carried a clipboard on a Saturday morning and ripped off a pink slip of carbon paper. She practically shoved it into my chest. "You are officially in violation. You have exactly 48 hours to remedy this situation." I took the slip. It felt heavy with bureaucratic nonsense. "Remedy it how?" "By painting it back to sad oatmeal." The bylaws clearly state, she recited entirely from memory, which honestly sent a chill down my spine, that all exterior surfaces, including doors, shutters, and trim, must be an approved, non-vivid, light-absorbing, neutral tone. If you don't comply by Monday morning, you will be fined $50 a day every day until it is fixed. Have a blessed weekend. She spun on her heel, her bob perfectly holding its shape against the wind, and marched back to her fortress of beige next door. I stood there on my porch holding the pink slip. I looked at my beautiful, cheerful teal door, and then I looked at the citation. An approved non-vivid, light-absorbing, neutral tone. I took a deep breath. I could have just gone back to the store. I could have bought a can of brown paint. I could have rolled over and let the HOA win on week 2 of my residency. But you guys know me. You know what this channel is about. I don't roll over. When someone digs a line in the sand, I bring an excavator and dig a trench. I went inside, threw my paintbrush in the sink, and opened my laptop. I wasn't just going to repaint my door. I was going to give Brenda exactly what she asked for. She wanted a light-absorbing neutral tone. I was going to give her the most light-absorbing neutral tone known to modern science. Have you guys ever heard of ultra-black acrylics? I started falling down a massive internet rabbit hole. Things like Muzu Black 3.0 or those Vantablack derivatives. These aren't just dark colors. They are scientific anomalies. They don't just look black. They absorb up to 99.4% of visible light. When you paint a three-dimensional object with this stuff, it loses all its features. It literally just looks like a two-dimensional hole in the universe. A little light bulb went off in my head. A very, very dark light bulb. I was going to paint my entire house ultra black. Every brick, every shutter, the siding, the trim, the gutters, the garage door, all of it. But there was a major catch. I knew Brenda. I knew the HOA. If I just painted my house black, they would find another loophole. They would try to fine me under some vague public nuisance clause. They would claim it was a driving hazard. They'd hire a crew to come power wash it off while I was at work and bill me for it. I needed a shield. A legal, bulletproof, impenetrable shield that not even Brenda's clipboard could pierce. I started researching federal property laws, artistic expression clauses, and Supreme Court rulings on zoning. And after about 4 hours of deep diving through legal jargon and PDF files, I found it. The holy grail of malicious compliance. VARA, the Visual Artists' Rights Act of 1990. Here's the beautiful thing about federal law. It completely, totally, and utterly trumps your stupid neighborhood bylaws. VAR is a federal copyright law that protects the moral rights of artists. It strictly prohibits the destruction, distortion, or mutilation of a work of visual art of recognized stature. If I just painted my house black myself, it was a code violation, just a guy ruining a house. But if I commissioned a specific modern art installation from a working, recognizable artist, if I had a legally binding contract proving that my house was no longer just a dwelling, but a federally protected socio-political art piece, federal law prevents its alteration. The HOA wouldn't be able to touch it. If they painted over it, they would be committing a federal offense and violating copyright law. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the glowing screen of my laptop. A slow, wicked grin spread across my face. I didn't need a painter. I needed an artist. And I needed a lot of black paint. Brenda wanted a light-absorbing neutral. She was about to get a master class in it.